and welcome to CrimeDivers. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jill.
And welcome to today's episode.
Hello everybody, welcome to today's Laura-sode.
Mm-hmm.
So before Laura...
Oh, are you cutting me off here? Okay.
Before we start,
Uh-huh.
I've got a wee challenge.
Challenge?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of our lovely listeners, Danielle, she sent us a message. Well, Laura doesn't look at our socials, so Laura doesn't know what the hell's going on. So yeah, she sent us a DM on Instagram,
Okay.
asking us to try and say something. So she sent me a video.
Oh, God.
And don't ask me what the guy's saying, because I only looked at it once.
Okay.
And I thought, because I don't want to like practice it or anything like that, so I only looked at it once, and I'd said to her, I was like, next time we'll record, like we'll give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I'm going to play it now for you, and I want you to try and say
I
it.
was going to say, am I going to totally embarrass myself here?
Well, I don't know, you might be able to say it perfectly, and I'm going to try it as well. But I didn't want to, I haven't told Laura about this because I wanted it to be
Okay.
authentic, you know what I mean? Like,
off the cuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to play it. Right, so wait now, I just need to put the sound up on my phone.
There's some Scottish people that kind of say purple burglar alarm, purple burglar alarm, purple burglar alarm,
Right, Laura?
purple burglar alarm.
You got it?
Purple
Burglar.
burglar alarm. Purple burglar alarm.
Right, say it again.
Purple burglar alarm. Purple burglar alarm.
Well done. Right. Say it again.
Purple. I can't say purple now. Purple burglar alarm.
Right,
Actually,
that's-
that's my mouth.
Well, you had to say it like as if you were talking in a normal conversation.
So today I found out that I had a purple burglar alarm. Okay.
Purple burglar alarm.
Are
Right?
you
This is-
practicing?
No. I was just listening to you doing it. So this is Jill now.
Sorry, it
What?
was my watch. I pressed on it.
Purple burglar alarm. Damn it, I thought I was going to be able to do it. Purple burglar alarm.
Now say it in a sentence.
So today I found out I've got a purple burglar alarm.
Okay, clearly it is a thing then.
Yeah, it is a thing. Because you can say it slowly. Purple
Purple
burglar
burglar
alarm. Then purple burglar...
Yeah.
Purple burglar... Purple... Purple burglar... Purple burglar
So we should
alarm.
just have an episode of words that we can't say.
Actually, Danielle, just I do watch things on TikTok sometimes, and you have like people saying saying things, telling Scottish people to say like certain words and stuff like that, and they're so funny, and I'll try and say them and I can't say them.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, Danielle.
Yeah,
we
you
just
just-
made ours as ourselves.
Clearly we can't say it properly. Well, we
Yeah.
can say it slowly. We
Yeah.
just can't use it in an episode.
Okay.
So if anybody's got any more words that they think we can't pronounce, I mean, we're more than happy to try. I mean, you know.
Why not? We're quite happy to make arses of
to be fair,
ourselves.
Jill makes an arse of herself on a regular basis with her words, so it's nothing new. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Danielle. Love you.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so are we gonna dive in? Oh no,
No,
we're
we're
not,
not.
because we don't. I don't even know where we are. Where are we?
We're in Australia today.
Oh, we're in Australia. We're not going down. No,
Down under.
I was gonna say down under, but I was
The
gonna
land
try.
down under. No.
Pardon? Oh my god! I totally forgot we were recording.
Oh my god.
Ah, well, keep it.
Yeah, because no, you know, we burp.
I was going to try and say down under in an Australian accent, but then I was like, nah, I don't know how to say that. Anyway, right.
Yeah. You're being an arse yourself
Right.
enough
I'm just gonna go to sleep when Laura's just gonna tell you the episode.
now. No, I need you to discuss it with me. So we're in Australia.
Right. What's the name of the episode?
Catfished.
Oh, this sounds interesting. Do you watch Catfish?
I am not a regular watcher as such, but I have.
You're familiar with it.
Familiar
I've watched
with
a few episodes. Yeah. Did you watch the original one where actually it all started, where it all came about? Because the actual host of Catfish
Was catfished?
was Catfished, yeah. But it was actually documented because he was like a filmmaker or something like that. So he was actually filming it,
Oh,
not
right.
realising that
Ah.
it was actually quite good.
There
But
you go.
anyway,
But yes, this is called
yeah.
Catfished.
So we know obviously the gist of it. So
Yes.
that sounds quite interesting. So now do you want to dive in?
Yes, let's dive in. Okay, so today, as I said, we're in South Australia. And we are in the quiet town of Stirling in Adelaide, which is home to a population of around 2,500 residents, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So not a particularly big
no,
place.
that's small.
Adelaide, is that where Neighbours?
That's Melbourne.
Oh, no. Oh, I don't know what made me think of that. I thought
Adelaide, does that... They might... Maybe
oh,
it's
maybe
near.
they go to Adelaide in Neighbours, do they?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's near there, because we maybe heard it mentioned.
Just when I thought of that, I thought, oh, that's what that makes me think of.
Yeah.
Anyway. So one of the residents that lived there was 14-year-old Carly Ryan. She lived there with her mother, Sonia, and her younger brother. So Carly and Sonia, they were like, best of friends, mum, daughter, had a great relationship, got on so well. Sonia had been very young when she had Carly, and she was a single mother. Mm-hmm. So, she had been struggling to make ends meet, and she said that Carly had basically saved her life and given her a purpose in her life.
Oh.
Which I thought was quite sweet.
It happens a lot though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So she described Carly as really funny, full of energy and life. She was always the entertainer of the house. She had her own style. She enjoyed expressing herself through her makeup and her clothes, and she was just full of kindness and totally wore her heart on her sleeve, as they say.
Right.
So as Carly went into her teenage years, her friendship groups began to change. So she got into a group of friends that they were described as being a bit more like experimental than Carly, so they weren't quite maybe what she was into. But she obviously wanted to be in their group. On one occasion, Carly actually got alcohol poisoning and she was admitted to hospital. So as soon as she was better, she did actually come home. And she said to her mum, how scared she'd been about the whole experience, which, obviously I can't imagine it being a pleasant... I've never had alcohol poisoning personally, but I can't...
I'm surprised I haven't had it.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. So that actually pushed her to make a decision to distance herself from that specific group of friends. So, at first she obviously was like really wanted to be in with them, but then that was just a big scare for her. She just didn't want to, do that anymore. Yeah. So she decided not to.
She learned from it.
Yeah, basically. So she began trying to find herself different friends. And at this point, social media was just emerging from the shadows.
Right.
It was just starting to, become a big thing. So she thought that was a great way to probably meet new people. So back in 2005, that was when social media was still very much in its early days. Obviously, it was a new way of meeting people, talking to people. You could talk to anybody online all over the world,
It was definitely, exciting, wasn't it? Like, it was new, it was different. It was like, oh my God, this whole new world just opened
exactly.
up.
So Carly joined the new platform called MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
See, I must have missed it. I mean, I did have a MySpace page, but at that point it was like MySpace and there was Bebo. And I was on like the Bebo pages more than the MySpace. I didn't really get into the MySpace.
I think MySpace was maybe more... Do you not think it was more American?
Yeah.
I think... I don't know anybody who was on MySpace. It was always Bebo.
Yeah. So... But
it might not have been. I mean, I could be wrong.
But I mean, I personally wasn't...
I've heard of it. I know what it is. Yeah.
So MySpace actually became the largest social media network and site in the world, and that held the title for several years of being
really?
the largest one. And at one point, it was the most visited website in the world, and that surpassed even Google.
Oh, wow.
So Google's massive, isn't it? So
maybe it wasn't just an American thing.
But eventually that obviously, I think once like Facebook and Twitter came along, MySpace kind of...
just died out.
It just died out, didn't it? She also joined a social networking site called Vampire Freaks. So that it was a social networking site, and then it actually became a clothing outlet as well. I'd never heard of that website.
I was just thinking of... I thought I had done a case maybe with that, but then I'm thinking maybe it was just something similar. I don't know. I don't know.
So Carly would often tell her mum about the new friends that she was making online.
Yeah.
And she was excited just to be talking to so many different people. And one of those was a 17-year-old called Brandon Kane. He went by the username Corrupt Koala, and he was an aspiring rock musician living in Melbourne with his dad.
Right.
So Carly fell fast and hard for Brandon, like totally fell for him.
Okay.
And Sonia said that whenever she spoke about him, she was just like totally like,
totally light up, all giddy and
all
excited.
giddy and excited and stuff. She was just like, clearly loved talking about him and just made her smile and happy and all this. But Sonia did notice that obviously there was an age difference because Carly was 14 and Brandon was 17.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was 3 years. I mean, it doesn't sound a lot, but I suppose in the younger years it's a bit...
Those years it's different. You know, like when you're only 14, that's young.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, Sonia, her mum, kept an eye on, you know, their interactions as best she could. But Sonia said that every time she looked over Carly's shoulder and saw a conversation between them, everything seemed pretty normal.
Yeah,
Apart
nothing,
from, you know,
nothing
yeah,
untoward.
they would talk about music, travelling, you know, their hopes and dreams for the future. So there was nothing to be concerned about at that point. She seemed, you know, just normal teens having, you know, chats.
Yeah.
So Brandon started talking to Carly's friends too. So they obviously must have all interacted on the MySpace, and they were all initially excited to see, you know, a potential romance.
Mm-hmm.
And so Carly and Brandon officially began a long-distance romantic relationship, and they would talk all hours of the day and night, just constantly be online talking to each other. So it sounds all nice, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, Oh.
So Sonia, she, you know, she kind of, even though she was a bit worried about the age difference, she did kind of start to warm to the idea of them being in a relationship. And Brandon's dad, Shane, he also took an interest in the couple. So Shane must have had a page as well, because he would actually comment and interact with the posts and stuff.
Okay.
And it seemed that he was, you know, approving of the couple, so that was fine. So Sonia had said that Carly felt that there had been a gap in her life, having grown up without a dad. Mm-hmm. So I think sort of maybe Carly felt that Shane was sort of filling that void a bit, because he was obviously taking an interest in her and what she was doing, and, you know, interested about her life and stuff. And she must have maybe, obviously a father figure, you know, totally seen him as a father that she obviously never had. So Carly, she was going to be turning 15 soon, and she was having a party. So she invited Brandon to come to her house to celebrate, because she thought it'd be the perfect time for them to meet, because they still haven't met each other yet at this point, and she thought it'd be the perfect time for them to meet. But sadly, Brandon phoned and told Carly that he couldn't make it.
All right.
Carly was like totally gutted, of course, because, you know, she was desperate to meet him.
Should have been looking forward to it.
But then Brandon made a suggestion, and he said that his dad Shane would be passing on a work trip, and he would love to come and meet everyone on Brandon's behalf.
Okay, I'm having thoughts.
Yeah, no, that seemed to perk Carly up. I mean, I found that very, very strange, because I couldn't imagine if I had like a long distance relationship with a boyfriend that I've invited to come to a party. And
I can't come, but I'll just send my dad.
Yeah, I just
no.
Do you not find? I mean, I would find that incredibly strange, because I'd be like, but I've not even met you. I'm not really wanting to meet your dad.
Yeah, but remember, you said that she was kind of looking at him as like a father figure and stuff, and you know, so she could have well wanted to meet him, because if she's been talking to him and stuff like that on.
Well, that's true. Online. I mean, obviously, it's not like he's a total stranger.
Yeah.
To her. I mean, they have obviously been having conversations online. I mean, I don't know how much they were interacting. I mean, I'd say he was just maybe commenting on some posts that, you know, were between her and Brandon, so I don't know exactly how much, but enough to obviously, I suppose, maybe get to know him a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, so it probably maybe wasn't that strange then.
Maybe, yeah. So Shane worked in security, and his job would often take him around parts of the country. So Carly, you know, she obviously stood on the phone. She came running into the kitchen, handing the phone to her mum, saying that Shane was on the line, and he wanted to introduce himself.
Right.
Which I thought, yeah, okay, you know, because fair enough. So Shane said that he would love to drop off a present for Carly from Brandon, and finally meet the family of the girl his son was so crazy about. Sonia was hesitant, like she was like, not so sure about this, but she did agree, because as they'd all been talking online for so long, it didn't feel like he was a stranger. It was like more like, well, okay, you know, we do obviously know something of him, so
yeah, I get like obviously the wary bit, like you can, you know, when you
again, I'm not sure how I would feel about that if that was my daughter, and she had started seeing someone, and then all of a sudden, like, she's handing me the phone.
Yeah, well, that's obviously what her mum's feeling. She's like,
but she did agree, so, you know, obviously she was.
Well, I mean, he seems very polite. Like, he's phoning and asking if it's okay. So personally, I kind of get it. I mean, I would probably be the same. I would be very wary about it, but as she is.
Well, that's true. So it was the 26th of January 2007, and this was the evening of Carly's party. So Shane arrived at the house as planned to meet Carly and her family. He was still in his security uniform, and he even showed his ID badge to Sonia before he came in.
See, so, yeah. He's acting like he's all a nice man and above board. And
well, that's it. I mean, he was very polite. He was keen to talk to everyone. You know, Carly was like dead chuffed that he was there. Like, she was actually really happy that he was there. You know, she was chuffed to be meeting her boyfriend's dad, and she was actually kind of hoping to get to know Brandon a bit better
through his dad.
Through his dad, which again, it just seems very weird. But
why?
I don't know. I just think back to relationships that I've had, and the last thing I wanted to do was talk to like the parents. I mean,
yeah, but this is all done online. This is all different. She hasn't met him, and if she's not meeting him, she's meeting her dad. So, I think that would be quite a good thing to get to know him through his dad, see what his dad says about him and stuff.
Yeah. So Shane gave.
I'm not believing this whole fucking storyline, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No. So Shane gave Carly the gift from Brandon, which included.
Please don't tell me it's underwear or something vile.
Underwear.
No.
And a nurse's outfit. Like, what the
She's
fuck?
15.
Like, yeah, what the fuck?
And if this is... And did the dad know that's what she was getting?
Well, I don't know, because it doesn't say whether...
Well, no, because the dad would have known, because I'm sure this dad is actually Brandon.
Yeah. So I don't actually know, like... But, I mean, like, what the fuck would her mum think of that? I mean, I don't know... It does say that it was, like, later found out that that's what the present was. I don't know if she initially opened it at that moment. I think she may have put it to one side and maybe was going to open presents later. I don't know, but...
Right, yeah. But no!
But, I mean, again, if I was her mum, I'd be thinking, what the...
If I was her, I'd be like, no. Like, why are you saying... Like, because she's... Obviously, this is all legit. Her boyfriend's Brandon. Mm-hmm. He's sending her underwear and a nurse's outfit. No!
And they haven't even met.
Exactly, that's what I mean. No!
Yeah, I know, it does seem pretty... I mean, it's not something I would buy for a first gift, surely.
No!
Surely, but yeah. Anyway, so Shane...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's alright if you're already in a relationship with somebody.
Ah, yeah.
You're in a relationship. You're old enough to be in a sexual relationship.
Well,
exactly. If you want to buy each other underwear and nurses' outfits, on you go.
Yeah, each their own, but remember, she's just turned 15 here.
And they haven't met each other.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a random present.
No, that's not right.
I don't think it's a good one. So Shane was totally attached to Carly all night. And he was actually, he was sort of behaving quite strange, and he just been a bit weird around her and stuff. So I think she started to feel maybe a wee bit uncomfortable, but she remained calm about it. Like, she didn't make a big deal. You know, she totally valued her boyfriend's dad's opinion.
Yeah.
And you know, she wanted him to like her.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to make any fuss of that, but she did sort of get strange feelings from him. So as the night, you know, was finishing up for the party, Shane said that he was going to leave and get a hotel room. And I was thinking, did they not book one? Like when just the way it came across, like he was just going to go and get one. I thought, well, surely if he was planning to he would have one booked.
Yeah.
No? But it's just the way that came across to me. I don't know. Unless that's I don't know. So Sonia apparently told him not to be silly, and said that he could stay in the spare room, having travelled so far to get there, and of course spending a lot of money to do so, which I then thought was strange, because I thought, well, surely if he's working,
he was going to be there anyway,
and the work would have paid for his trip.
Yeah, but
so why is she saying, oh, you'd have spent so much money coming? But it's like, well, no, because if he's working around the country, then surely work would have paid, because that's what he was passing through.
Well, that's what I mean. Work. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he was passing through, he would have been going there anyway. So it's not like he made a special effort to make that trip.
Exactly, and let's say work would have surely covered expenses.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. But anyway, so early the next morning, Sonia was up early and getting herself ready, and she just, casually walked past Carla's room. But as she walked past, obviously her eye looked into the room, and she saw Shane asleep on Carla's bed, fully clothed. He was lying on top of the covers, and all of Carla's friends were in there as well, so it was like they must have been sleeping all about the room as well. And he was in there.
This dude is weird.
Yeah, so Sonia was totally horrified, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you be? And she demanded that Shane got his things and go.
Definitely.
And he didn't he didn't say a word. He literally just got his things together, got in his car and drove off.
Okay.
So
where's Carly?
Well, she was asleep in the room as well.
Oh, she was there as well. You never said she was there. You just said
they were all asleep. Her and her friends and Shane were all there. They were all sleeping in the room.
You never said that, because you just said he was on the bed and all the friends were there.
But that's why
I was wondering where she was.
It does seem a bit strange, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, he was supposed to be in the spare room, so why is he in there?
Yeah, exactly.
And well, with all these, I'm assuming would have been round about the same age as her, maybe 14, 15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't actually know how he ended up in there and why he ended up in there, because I didn't find
it's weird.
Why, but
it's not weird. Right.
No. So Sonia said to Carly that she no longer cared about how much she liked Brandon. There was just something seriously creepy with his dad's behaviour, and the whole situation just felt very, very wrong to her.
Yeah.
Carly actually confessed to her mum that Shane had acted inappropriately towards her the previous night, but despite that, Carly was upset about how things had ended, and you know how like she had obviously like left the house, and actually begged her mum to patch things up.
Oh God.
Because obviously, I say
she's still thinking, yes, this is my boyfriend's dad.
Yeah.
I don't want him to go home and tell my boyfriend that this has happened.
Exactly.
And,
So she was like, please, and like we just like make it up with him. But Sonia, like, she wasn't for it like at all. She, you know, it had really shook her a bit. That
yeah.
Just, you know, she wasn't.
I'm not surprised. Like, can you imagine walking past your 15-year-old daughter's room and finding a grown man on her bed,
exactly.
regardless of who else was there? Like, just no.
And I said it. I think it was too much for her. She actually cut the internet off and took Carly's phone away. And she actually also threatened to call the police. But of course, you know, Carly pleaded with her not to. And she was so upset about the thought of never being able to see Brandon. Like,
yeah,
she was
I get that. I get
devastated.
You can see both sides.
Oh, totally. So Sonia, she did eventually give Carly her phone back. She caved in. But it was on the condition that all communications with Shane stopped, so she didn't want her talking to Shane anymore.
Right, understandable.
And Sonia actually sent Shane an email saying that if he ever contacted her daughter again, the police would be involved.
Right.
But apparently Shane actually sent an email back, and he was being like really nasty and vicious. He was threatening legal action against her for defamation. He called Sonia pathetic and a gutless bitch. Nice. Saying that if Carly and Brandon continued seeing each other, Carly would be moving into their house and Sonia would lose her battle anyway.
Oh my God.
I was like, wow.
You could have just apologised.
Well, exactly. That's
no need for that.
I know, it was just like, it was almost like he didn't like the fact that she was saying, no, I don't want you to have anything to do with my daughter.
Yeah, I think he was just feeling threatened, thinking, oh shit, like...
Yeah, I think exactly that's what it was, and that's why...
This woman isn't daft. She knows what's getting... Well, she doesn't know exactly what's going on, but...
Yeah, she knows something's not right here.
Yeah, she's going to stop me from seeing Carly or having contact, so I'm just going to be a cunt.
Yeah, basically. So almost a month had passed since Carly's birthday party, so it was the 19th of February, and Carly spent the morning with her mum painting her nails, and she was getting ready for a sleepover with a friend. Sonia had spoken to the other parents over the phone, and you know the sleepover had been planned for a while, so obviously she'd organised to go and stay there. And Carly seemed to be back to her usual self, and she was looking forward to spending the night at her friends. As she was leaving, Carly, you know, gave her mum a hug, as you do. Well, if you got me, mum, obviously. Maybe not all.
I didn't.
Well, she did. And they actually ended up hugging 4 times, as like, obviously, they'd have a hug, they'd let go, then one of them would go, no, I'm having another hug, and then go again and had
that's cute.
hug. So they had like 4 hugs. And then Carly said, I love you, mum.
Aww.
And they headed off. So early the next morning, which was the 20th of February, police received a call reporting the body of a young female that had been found floating down in shallow water. This was in Horseshoe Bay, Port Elliot, which was 80 kilometres south of Adelaide. Right. A pathologist quickly confirmed that this was not an accidental death. Injuries found on her body were consistent of being attacked. So around 9 a.m. that morning, Sonia was trying to ring Carly, but her phone was off. So alarm bells started ringing as her daughter, you know, typical teen, was normally glued to the phone,
yeah.
And, you know, she'd obviously tried a few times, and she was literally just about to try phoning her again when she received a call from an unknown number. And the caller said, oh, is this the home of Carly Ryan? I've just found her purse on the side of the road.
Oh, God.
But that location, obviously where that caller was a long way from where Carly was supposed to have been.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that phone call ended. So Sonia then actually rang the home of the friend whose house she was going to for a sleepover.
Uh-huh.
And to Sonia's horror, the parents said that Carly hadn't shown up. Now, to me, that didn't sit right, just purely because if you had spoken to parents and arranged a sleepover, and then, like, so if I had spoken to, say, Carly's mum, and she was coming to my house for a sleepover, and then she didn't turn up, I would have been, like, getting in touch with her mum, saying, oh, you know, where is she? Is she okay? Like, she was meant to be coming here. You know, something changed. I don't know, I just personally would have...
Personally, I wouldn't have been that bothered. I'd have been like, great, she's not coming. I'm not going...
No, but if there's no... Like, you know, if your daughter was like... I'd be like, oh, I thought Carly was coming for a sleepover. and your daughter was saying, oh yeah, she's meant to be, but she's not turned up yet. I mean, I don't know,
And did the daughter not heard for her, like, because she'd covering up for her or anything like that?
No, I heard for her. So, I mean, I just found it...
I would just be like, oh, she's changed her mind. I wouldn't really think anything of it.
But I think, I mean, I've just known, personally, my, relationship with some of my daughter's friends. I just think we would communicate that. Like, if I was expecting her and she didn't turn up, I don't know. I just found that...
Yeah, I would have been like, oh, well, never mind. She's not coming.
Yeah, that's just you. That's not me. So anyway, yeah, so that's it.
Well, that obviously isn't this person either.
No, she hadn't turned up to her friend's house. So Sonia hung up the phone and called the police straight away. And over the phone, the police informed Sonia that they had just found a body, which I think must have been terrible to hear that over the phone. Because obviously she's literally, in that instant, probably phoning to say my daughter's missing.
I don't think they should have said that, because it could well not have been her daughter.
Well, obviously they've said, they said that the body seemed to match Carly's description. There was no ID found with or near the body, which would make sense if her purse was found. So Sonia actually went to identify the body. So that could have been awful. Well, obviously both ways, if it wasn't Carly or if it is. And she was telling herself the whole way, it couldn't possibly be her daughter. But she said the minute that she saw the nail polish, she knew it was Carly. So the news obviously, began to spread, and Carly's face was all over the news. The community was shocked, and no one could think of anyone who would want to hurt Carly, let alone kill her. She had no enemies. She was a 14-year-old girl at the end of the day, or 15-year-old girl. So she just turned 15. She was no reason for anybody to have anything against her. So the area of beach where she was found was searched, and the police did find signs of a struggle. Her jewellery was broken and scattered around, and police also found the tip of a latex glove and drops of blood on the sand. And the autopsy revealed 19 separate injuries, with 6 to 8 of the injuries being blows to the head.
Oh my God.
Her cause of death was a combination of facial trauma, smothering, and drowning. Yeah, and obviously
bother there.
And obviously, I think because when I said she'd been sort of smothered, I think she'd been pushed face down into the sand.
Yeah.
So there was obviously beach sand in her.
Right.
Down her, is it esophagus?
Down her throat.
Down her throat. As well.
That's awful.
It is. So the police began collecting footage from the cameras outside the surrounding shops, and one camera showed Carly on the camera at 7:04 p.m. and she was walking down the boardwalk with 2 men. A witness came forward saying that they had seen the men that fitted the same description on the beach near where Carly was found, and that was just before 10 o'clock that night. The witness also recalled seeing a pale blue car in the parking area by the beach as well, although he couldn't remember the car's number plate, but he did remember seeing some sort of security badge with a number 24 on it, and that was in the window of the passenger's side. It was in the
You mean
window.
like somebody who works for security?
Yeah. So, but no one could give an explanation of how Carly ended up on that beach. At that point, nobody knew. So police went through Carly's online chats, and only one name kept popping up. Sorry, I need to take a drink.
So is that Shane or Brandon?
Brandon Keynes. Most messages were just between Carly and Brandon, but there was a few odd ones between Brandon and Carly's friends, which over time became aggressive and nasty, and it became clear to the police that Brandon was extremely manipulative and had been trying to stop Carly talking to her friends for a long time.
Right.
Sorry.
She's not very well.
No. I was doing well. So police wanted to talk to Brandon, but also his dad Shane. So Sonia told police about Shane's inappropriate incident at Carly's party, and Sonia also showed the police the email that she had sent to him and the replies that he had sent back. And police also traced a couple of phone numbers that Carly had been frequently talking to, and these numbers were traced to Melbourne and also Adelaide, and mobile data put the 2 numbers travelling en route to Adelaide on the night of Carly's birthday party. And they looked up the names and addresses linked to those numbers, but they decided that they had to be fake, and they actually had no clue at this point who Carly had been speaking to because they couldn't trace it back to anybody. So some of the calls were linked to a small suburb called Walkerville, which was just miles from Carly's home, and there was a caravan park there, and police wondered if whoever was on the end of the phone had actually stayed there at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So police were right, and they were onto something, and the 2 men that had been caught on camera with Carly had stayed there, and the family that was with them was the vehicle that was with them was registered to an address in Melbourne, so detectives finally had something to go on. So when police arrived at the address, they found a blue car sat outside with the security badge that the witness had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
However, as you're no surprise here, the address was not linked to Brandon or Shane. It was linked to a 48-year-old father of 3 called Gary Francis Newman.
Who the hell's Gary Francis Newman?
You're about to find out. 11 days after Carly had been killed, police knocked on Gary's door and he was swiftly placed under arrest. He didn't say a word to the police, and officers began searching his house. And as they opened a desk drawer, they found pages and pages of names, passwords and emails. Gary had more than 200 online personas.
Oh my God. 2
of which were Brandon and Shane.
Oh, so Shane's not Brandon?
No. Gary is Shane and Brandon and many others.
Do you know what I was thinking? Remember our episode that we did, Tall Hot Blonde, and the guy was talking to a young girl and he was pretending that he was his son.
Yeah,
So I thought it was kind of like that, it was this older guy pretending to be like...
Yeah. No, there is no Brandon, there is no Shane.
Well, I didn't think there was a Brandon, but I thought like Shane was like the one who pretended to be Brandon, but he was also Brandon's dad as well. You know what I mean?
But no, this was man named Gary.
Okay, you surprised me there.
Yeah.
That dog is... My dog is lying next to me, cuddled in, and she is that comfortable that she has just let off a really smelly fart.
Lovely. I'm glad I'm over here.
Oh, it stinks, Lily.
Alright, let me get back to this.
Sorry.
So he had more than 200 online personas, 2 of which were Brandon and Shane. And as police were in the house, on his computer, he actually had other chats open with more teenage girls that he'd been talking to. And he was logged onto these chats as none other than Brandon Kane.
Oh.
He had loads of fake photos, and he'd also used family members and friends' details to create numerous profiles. So as they dug deeper, they found a camera that had been taken from Carly's house on the night of her party. And one of those photos was of Carly and Gary, who she thought was Shane. His security uniform and badge were fake.
Oh.
And the boy that was seen walking down the boardwalk with him was Gary's 17-year-old son, who is believed to have been hired to play Brandon that day. Although that does remain unconfirmed, but that's what they think was the case.
Because she obviously thought she was going to meet Brandon.
Yeah. The evidence against Gary was strong, and on the evening before Carly was set to go to her friends for a sleepover, she'd actually made plans with Gary, who told her that he and his fake son Brandon would be in town the following day. And as she'd already waited 18 months to meet the guy that she'd fallen in love with, she obviously wasn't going to refuse that offer. And she promised that she wouldn't mention it to her mum either.
Right.
So after the 3 of them obviously met up, Gary drove them to Horseshoe Bay. And based on the evidence, police believe that Carly was violently assaulted by Gary after she refused his advances. They believe that he pinned her down by sitting on her back and pushed her head into the sand, suffocating her. And obviously Carly, she was small,
So where's the son at this point?
Oh, he's there still. He's there.
Right, okay, sorry.
So given Carly's small size and frame, there was no way that she could have fought him off. He was too big, too strong for her. And it is believed that Carly was actually unconscious when Gary left her body in the shallow water, and they think maybe he clearly hoped that she would either float away and never be found, or that it would look like she had accidentally drowned.
Okay.
And it's thought that the whole ordeal was witnessed by Gary's son, but what does remain unclear is whether his son was involved any more than that. Like, we don't actually know whether he participated in any of it, whether he helped his dad or anything like that.
So did they think that if he didn't help, he was just standing there watching?
Well, yeah, that's what it sounds like. I mean, obviously we can't confirm either way what he did or
Yeah.
didn't do, but
Okay.
I mean, so sand from the beach was found in both Gary and his son's shoes, and forensic experts determined that Carly was alive and fighting for her life for at least 30 minutes on the beach.
Oh my goodness.
So fast forward, almost 3 years after Carly's death in October 2009, Gary Francis Newman finally appeared in court. His and his son's identities were not initially revealed to the public or media, but the press argued that the public had a right to know who had done this.
Yeah.
So Gary's identity actually did remain sealed for a long time,
Huh.
and his son's identity actually remains hidden until this day, so we don't know.
Well, that's
his
not
son.
fair.
No,
They should be bloody...
exactly.
Um,
So Gary asked to plead guilty to manslaughter, but the prosecution would not accept his plea, and his son also entered a plea of not guilty. And throughout the trial, Gary stated that he had bipolar and OCD and was asexual and not interested in sex at all, claiming that he was like a father figure to Carly, only chatting to her as Shane and not Brandon. He blamed that on his son, so he was basically saying that his son was pretending to be Brandon.
so if you're asexual, that means that you're not interested in having sex.
Yeah.
So why would he be, because of, well, it sounds like she rejected his advances, so he didn't make advances, so why did he kill her?
Well, I'm not convinced he was asexual. I think it's just
Well,
making
yeah,
it
that's
up,
what I mean, like, he probably wasn't, and she probably did reject his advances, but what was his excuse
Yeah.
for...
Exactly, but he didn't really.
Oh, okay.
He admitted to meeting up with Carly on the day that she died, and he claimed that they parted ways after she refused to lift home, so he and his son left her on the beach. He even said he hadn't heard about her death until 3 days later.
Okay, Gary.
And following this, he had phoned Crime Stoppers to try and help catch the killer. My arse, he did.
Aye, okay, Gary. Shut up, Gary.
So Gary's son testified against him, saying while they were at the beach that Gary made advances towards Carly. She tried to walk away, but Gary attacked her from behind. The son denied having anything to do with killing Carly directly, although he did admit to helping Gary to cover it up.
Oh, okay.
And one of Gary's other sons also testified against his dad, saying that when Gary returned from the party after Carly had rejected his advances there, he was infuriated and angry and vowed to his sons that he would return to Adelaide to fix Carly up. Gary even bragged to his son about what he had done to Carly and showed him bruises on his hands from hitting her. His son said he didn't take his dad seriously, he thought it was all just talk. Because I was kind of like, why didn't you...
Yeah, but you don't want to believe that your dad's capable of doing something like that.
No, not at all. So Gary was found guilty and sentenced to life to serve at least 29 years before being eligible for parole. Gary's teenage son, who was a minor at the time of the crime but a witness to the murder of Carly, was cleared of all charges. The courts believed he deserved a second chance, and as I said earlier, his identity remains hidden.
Well, I mean, if he was cleared of all charges, then fair enough that his identity's not been revealed.
Gary did try to appeal his sentence, but that was denied. And obviously, as a last note, Carly's mum, Sonia, wanted to do something in her daughter's name, so in 2010 she established the Carly Ryan Foundation. It's a certified online safety programme, basically to warn kids of the dangers of being online.
Yeah.
Her tireless work saw her become a finalist in the 2017 Human Rights Awards, and she is a previous winner of the South Australian of the Year Award for her continued contribution to the community. So
it's a shame that, she's winning awards, which is great, but, like...
It's a shame the reason that she's having to do it.
Yeah, the reason that she's having to do it is because of what happened to her daughter. Yeah. That's awful. I don't understand how somebody could have over 200 different identities online and chatting with all these different people. How do you keep up with that?
Well, I know, exactly. That just sounds crazy. I mean, obviously, as I said, there was his computer was open and he was obviously having other chats with girls using the Brandon's name, so he must have, maybe even more, I don't know, or maybe he didn't use them all at one time. I mean, who knows?
My memory is too bad to be able to do that. I can't remember what I've said to one person, never mind.
But that's like, I keep saying to, like, my daughter, I'm like, you know, you just don't know who you're talking to
Yeah.
online. You've got to be very careful. Like, I've made it clear, you don't give out any personal details, you don't, you know, say anything, you don't tell me where you live or anything, because you have absolutely no idea who you're talking to online.
Exactly.
Like, they can pretend to be whoever they want to be online. And sadly, too many people fall for that. And unfortunately, I mean, I know this is an
Well, we've
extreme...
seen Catfished,
Yeah,
so,
exactly. I mean, this is obviously
you
an
know.
extreme circumstance where, you know, Carly's been murdered on the back of it. But, you know, you just... So, I mean, I just don't trust anybody online anymore.
No.
Like, I'm very distrusting of everybody. Like, I don't believe anything anymore. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no. I don't trust anybody anyway, but especially online, it's like, no.
And yeah, it's hard for, you know, kids as well, especially, you know, we were lucky. We didn't have to really worry about that growing up. I mean, I must admit, when I was like, I must have been early teens, I think, you know, you used to have like the chat rooms that you used to go on. It wasn't like a social networking site as such, but it was like these chat rooms, and I actually did go and meet up with...
Yeah, you discussed that on another episode.
I mean, I did take my friend with me, but I mean, and thankfully, you know, it was as innocent as it was. But I mean, that could easily have been not innocent, but I didn't see the danger.
Yeah,
I didn't realise
I know.
the danger that I was putting myself in at that moment, and
Which is why we need to raise their awareness.
Well,
why
yeah.
that's great that, although it's unfortunate that that's happened to Carly, but at least her mum is
she's
raising
trying to,
awareness for it.
Oh
Which,
yeah, because she'll be like trying to, you know, make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously she can't save her daughter now, but she can potentially save somebody else's life by just making them a bit more aware. And I certainly will be drumming into my daughter for the rest of her years to be careful
Of course.
about, you know, I know I can't stop her interacting online as she gets older and stuff, but I can certainly make sure she's, you know, got her head screwed on and,
Yeah, definitely.
you know, doesn't get carried away and, you know, goes to meeting randoms and stuff like that. But it definitely still happens to this day, so...
I actually thought that Shane was just...
Shane.
Yeah, it was just Shane. I did think that was really him, and he was just pretending. But he'd been talking as Brandon, pretending that Brandon was his son. But I just thought Shane was Shane.
Nope, Shane was Gary.
Okay, well, Gary was an absolute monster.
Absolutely. So, there you go.
Okay, well, thank you to everybody for listening, and we'll see you next
See you
time.
later. Bye.
If you would like to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Threads, we are crime_divers_pod. We are on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, and it's Crime Divers Podcast. Our email is crime_divers_pod@outlook.com. Our website is crimedivers.co.uk. If you would like to join our Patreon, it's patreon.com/crimedivers. And if you would like to buy us a coffee, it's buymeacoffee.com/crimedivers.
And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, review.